Thanks for taking care of LT this winter, guys. The last couple kids who did it went a little crazy. They ended up jumping off the 14th floor of Campania.
What?
14th floor?
Yeah, we don't get that one either.
2 hours later.
I'm bored. Can you go check outside?
Why not? Nope. It's a little cold, but I think yesterday was worse.
Okay, well, let's think of this logistically. How much longer could this storm last?
Too much longer.
Jake? Jake, are you up here? Jake?
Oh, hi, Andrew.
Get away!
Watch Netflix with me, Andrew. Orange is the New Black. Narcos Season 2. Fuller House.
We're off to see
Jake? Jake. Back, Jake. Back. Back. Get back.
Here's Jakey.
Jake? You're not yourself.
Oh, no.
Hi guys, I'm Andrew Oj, and that's supposed to be Jake Hensler. Oh God. This week on the middle seats, top 5, review of which, interview with Mean Girls actor. It's brand new middle seats, and it starts
Now.
I said, hey, that's what I like about you. The way you do what you do, how you do, I like about you. Come on now, hey, that's what I like about you. The way you do what you do, how you do, I like about you. I said, much fun the women take. You walk past and I go crazy. Nike, checkmate, yeah, moving up.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew O'Jay.
I'm Jake Henson.
The Middle East is the longest-running entertainment show in Marist College history, and we are back here again on another Thursday to bring you, hopefully, a good show.
Quite hopefully.
I'm glad we got out of this building. You were scaring me for a little bit.
Yeah, I was scaring myself. I don't remember that, actually.
Yeah?
Like, at all.
Meth is a hell of a drug.
So is cocaine. Together?
So we're talking about The Witch this week, and I thought we would talk about banter topics, some of our favorite indie horror films.
Ooh, I mean, my current favorite right now is like a drug. It Follows. Love It Follows. I've seen it like 3 times now, maybe even 4, and just such a good movie.
Yeah. Are you a big Blair Witch person?
The one time I saw it, I liked it a lot. Yes.
Yeah,
I got to see it again.
I haven't seen Blair Witch. I liked Paranormal Activity the first time I saw it.
First one was good. Second one, I was laughing.
I think
The
first,
one was good.
second, third, fourth. They made a 5th. I guess.
You beat me.
Whatever.
I saw 1 and 2.
But I think it's interesting because The Witch got a little bit of buzz.
It did.
And it did pretty well at the box office. So I think it's interesting to see
I was
how.
surprised it did decent at the box office. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't expect a lot of
I think
people
that has
to
to
see
do
it.
with the marketing too. But I think it's interesting to see how the little engine that could work in some movies. And I think that kind of applies to our third segment today too, talking to the our actor friend from Mean Girls. That was a film that started out low key and then.
I was gonna say, speaking of like low key horror movies, you should see Goodnight Mommy. That was a good one.
I need to see that.
That was
too.
a good one. I saw that
Babadook
over.
is another one I need to see.
Which one?
The Babadook.
Yeah, I wasn't as over the moon about that as some other people are, but that was a good one too, nonetheless.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to talk about The Witch now.
Yes, we are.
Before we can scare up our review of The Witch, though, we'll terrify you with some news. It's the top 5.
The top 5 are the biggest news stories of the week, and they are ranked in ascending order.
You know, for a device that's supposed to be a navigation app, my GPS has taken me into some really dangerous, out-of-the-way neighborhoods too many times. Luckily, the navigation app Waze has a very interesting alternative for me, so I can at least get lost and possibly carjacked in style. Within the Waze app, you can pick what voice talks to you. So, for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger can yell at you to make a left and get to the chopper. They just hit you with the cream of the crop with their latest voice talent, Morgan Freeman. That's right, the voice of Andy Dufresne's best friend, Batman's tech nerd, the Penguin survival narrator, and God will lead the way. Hopefully home and not to Camden this time. I don't know if you've ever been to Camden, but you don't want to go to Camden.
No, I
Even the
haven't.
people that live in Camden don't want to be in Camden.
This is awesome, though. I'm so happy this is happening.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Morgan Freeman being like, I had a code for this. Oh, no, forgot again. Whatever. You know what I mean. That happens all the time.
No, I'm just gonna keep letting you self-destruct.
Okay.
This is fun.
Well, you know when you get in the shower and you have a great idea, and then
it goes
then
away,
you
yeah.
wrap your towel around and the idea's gone. This is what happened to me, but on television. So.
We should just manufacture the towel. And just, get all the ideas out. Morgan Freeman has the kind of voice where if he read the dictionary, I would listen.
Oh,
So-
absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
he can tell me to make a right on Route 9. That's fine.
Make an
Okay with that.
illegal U-turn. I'll do it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, he might persuade you to do some bad things. Like if I got in a car accident because of Morgan Freeman, I'd only be mildly annoyed. That's the problem.
Although I feel like this is an upgrade from Schwarzenegger, because I feel like if
He'd be
Schwarzenegger
aggressive.
were telling me like make a left in 2 miles, I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry.
It's an upgrade from George Bush, though. He wouldn't know where to get you or anything. I got political there. I was gonna say Queen Latifah, but
We are a
we
movie
gotta
review
move.
show.
Anyway.
So anyway, Edgar Wright's new film is coming in at number 4 today with a solid addition to an already big cast. The film Baby Driver already stars Ansel Elgort with Lily James, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, Kevin Spacey, and now just picked up John Bernthal. Elgort is the lead, playing a gifted getaway driver named Baby, who's basically left mute after an accident. His life is threatened after crime boss Doc, played by Kevin Spacey, drags him into a heist that's destined for death. With Edgar Wright's track record, expect us to be excited for this one when it gets to theaters in March of next year. I'm glad we're getting more news on this, because remember when the concept first came out, I was excited that Edgar Wright's on another thing, and now he's got a really big cast behind him too. So
I appreciate that he takes his time in between films.
Yeah,
Like he
absolutely.
doesn't feel the need to rush anything out. He takes his time. He probably develops the script. He gets the best cast he can, and then he goes out and shoots. it.
right, and
I
you know
yeah.
he's a good writer.
And you know he'll deliver.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He's 4 for 4 as far as I'm concerned so far.
I got to see Scott Pilgrim again, but yeah, as
I
far
think
as I'm
that's his
concerned,
best,
yeah,
personally.
I got to
That's
see
my
that one
favorite.
again. But I'm a big Hot Fuzz fan. I love
Yeah.
that movie.
And I think
So
Ansel
good.
Elgort as the lead. We talked about this way back when this was first announced, I think on like season 3 of the show. I'm really excited for Ansel Elgort getting more roles because I think he's a very talented actor.
And
I
with a
think-
great director
yeah.
behind him.
I thought he
so.
was one of the big strengths of Fault in Our Stars. I was really surprised by how well he sold me that performance.
You're right. He was very, very, very charming
Right.
and really convincing.
I'm
liked him
excited
too.
for this though. I think this is obviously it's an Edgar Wright film.
Oh yeah, and Kevin Spacey is always a good villain. You can't go
Kevin
wrong with
Spacey's
that.
always a great villain.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey looks like a villain. I'm surprised his kids are not afraid of him, if he has kids. Anyways, Disney's trend of rebooting their old animated franchise comes in full force this year with The Jungle Book dropping in April, Alice Through the Looking Glass coming in May, and the live-action adaptation of Pete's Dragon swooping into theaters in August. Let's take a look at the trailer for the latter. Directed by David Lowery and starring Bryce Dallas Howard, Robert Redford, Wes Bentley, and Carl Urban, Pete's Dragon arrives on August 12th.
I vividly remember parts of this from my childhood. Like, really not much at all, but like the general concept. This is cool that they're making this live action now.
I never saw it, but it looks cool to me.
Yeah.
I think this trend could be detrimental, but I also think the trend could be strong too, you know?
Right.
Like, I really don't like Maleficent. I don't like Alice in Wonderland, but Jungle Book looks cool to me.
I didn't bother with either, but Jungle Book does look really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
And I think Pete's Dragon, they got themselves a good cast. Like, anytime you get to see Robert Redford act is a treat these days. He's getting up there
That's
in
true.
age, and he's just a fantastic actor.
Wes Bentley's good too.
Wes Bentley's
Bryce
a good
Dallas
actor.
Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard is very popular right now. Too,
Right
with
now, yeah, from Jurassic World.
And I think the little kid is selling me on the CGI performance too. That's an important part
Yeah,
of this.
that's got to be really, really
I
hard.
mean, it's early, obviously, and we still
Right.
need to see more footage, but.
But
a very
overall cool.
promising start, yeah.
I kind of forgot this was coming out in the trailer release, and I was like, oh. look at
Disney's
this.
been on a roll recently, live action and animation. Apparently, Zootopia is really good. We're gonna be talking about that probably in a couple.
Oh,
of
is
weeks.
there reviews for that?
Yeah,
Out?
it's coming out. It's
Sweet.
already out in the UK, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
But apparently, it's really good, and Disney
Very
the Mouse House just keeps on chugging.
Awesome. So, anyway, whitewashing is clearly becoming an important issue in the world of film. The Academy Awards were ripped a new one for it, and the issue has gone even deeper than that. So it only makes sense that a white actor playing Michael Jackson during his African-American pop star sensation period would be controversial. Yep. Joseph Fiennes is set to play MJ for a British television special that is about a road trip post 9/11 with Elizabeth Taylor and Marlon Brando. Not only is there controversy over the casting, there's controversy over the truthfulness of the story. Those three were supposed to go to the King of Pop's concert at Madison Square Garden and then rented a car to drive back to California, only to call it quits in Ohio. It all seems ridiculous and unnecessary, but it's happening for reasons unknown.
Well, I mean, we're talking about it, so I think that reason's known.
I guess, but like, it's so weird and random, and we're not even sure if it's like a true story, but someone heard about it and decided to pen a script over it. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, it's weird.
Do you watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver?
Some, yeah.
They did
Some
a
of
really
it.
great segment this week about whitewashing.
Really?
And,
I gotta see
yeah.
that.
Then they and it doesn't touch on anything that like you and I don't know already, but it just encompasses really well what the issue here is here. Like Gods of Egypt is coming out tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus.
We talked about this. It's about Egyptians, and a Scottish person is the lead.
Right, yep.
But come on.
Good.
Are you kidding me? Like, so yeah, Exodus, Gods and King. That's another one. Joel Edgerton, Christian Bale.
Yeah, wonderful.
Two of the whitest guys in Hollywood.
I mean, Christian,
Playing
both
Egyptian.
great actors, but
Both great
not for those
actors, yeah.
roles.
And
Simple, should be.
MJ's not white. He never.
No.
I mean, he looked white
I mean,
at a point, but he's
There,
not a white person.
back behind us.
Yeah.
But not in those days.
And it's not his fault that he looks like that. That was a
No.
skin thing.
Yeah.
But like, come on, this is not a story that needs to be told.
No, and even,
And
even
if
if
it's
it's real.
going to be done like in a respectful way, fine. But there's no way.
But this is just like, this is like played for like laughs. It's supposed to be like a half-hour special or something like that in Britain. What's the point? I don't know. So this is stupid. But we like to get to stupid stuff sometimes.
I'm sure we'll yuck it up when it comes out. Anyways, we talked last week about potential Deadpool syndrome. That's the potential threat of a trend in Hollywood to interpret Deadpool's success as a thirst from audiences for exclusively R-rated superhero films. Batman vs. Superman is testing these waters as Warner Brothers has announced an Ultimate Edition of Dawn of Justice that will be coming to Blu-ray that will indeed be rated R. The PG-13 version of Dawn of Justice will fly into theaters on March 25th.
A lot of people think this is because of Deadpool, but it's not. This was already happening. It just
Yeah.
so happens to come out at the same time as
Yeah,
Deadpool.
and
This is already
I just think
happening
I
now.
just find it interesting timing. I'm not saying that it's any part of it, but I thought it was an interesting timing thing.
It is very interesting.
These are okay. Deadpool is one thing. He's a big name.
Yeah.
Wolverine's another thing. He's a big name, but his job is to cut people in half.
right.
This is Batman and Superman.
Superman
getting
is
an R-rated
known.
version.
Superman is
released.
known for not being violent. That's why the end of Man of Steel was so controversial. And Batman's rule is no killing.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do that's
So
going to be rated R?
I wonder if I don't know. I wonder what this will be. He must have shot some R-rated stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how intense
Must
the
be some
R-rated
graphic stuff
is.
going on somewhere.
Something. I mean, Zack
Weird.
Snyder is a very graphic director.
He is. I mean,
Man of Steel
300.
is easily him as his. Man of Steel is him easily at his most toned down.
Yeah.
Yeah. 300.
300's crazy.
Dawn of the Dead. Watchmen. Legend of the Guardians. No, just kidding.
I was like, wait.
But yeah, he must have shot some R-rated stuff if they're
Yeah.
ready to just release.
Which is
this.
interesting because that's not really, and I don't think Wonder Woman's like that either. I mean, maybe
As far as I
maybe
know.
Doomsday
She's
or
got a
Lex
sword,
Luthor does
doesn't she?
something.
Doesn't she have a sword?
Yeah, but it's not
Maybe.
like I don't know. It's
I don't see her cutting open people in the movie. Like,
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think they would have let that happen. Anyway, that'll do it for the top 5 this week. Get out your pitchforks and crosses. It's time for our review of The Witch.
Thanks, Andrew. I've been on a bit of a horror movie craze lately, but not the mainstream ones. For years, I've loved a good horror movie, but have been hating the ones our generation has been dishing out. I finally discovered where to look over the last few years, however. The lower budget, limited release type horror movies are the ones that I start to get excited for nowadays, and it's mainly because of how they execute their films. No cheese, no stereotypes, no jump scares, no lazy routes, nothing like that. I'm talking the serious, genuine, fear-mongering horror films. I frequently search for these types and get excited when I come across them. The Witch is one of those movies, but not quite upper echelon of the lesser known in the genre. The Witch takes place in around 1630s New England area, and after a dispute over religion with the village, a family of 7 is banished and decides to live off the land in a clearing in the middle of a forest. From there, things get stranger and stranger as the family goes from seemingly down in their luck to downright cursed. Our protagonist Thomason, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, is the eldest child and forced to deal with a lot, like many eldest siblings are asked to do. A rough relationship with her mother, all while trying to look after her younger siblings, including an infant. Once things start to get out of hand, she is accused of witchcraft after playing a gag on her younger sister, who took it too seriously. Or did she? Witch is a psychological horror film more than anything else. Is Thompson a witch? Or is she uninvolved whatsoever, and the real evil is an outside source drive them against each other? Whichever answer it may be, Taylor-Joy plays the part well. Her expressions often speak better than her own words do, and her younger brother Caleb, played by Harvey Scrimshaw, can be credited for the same. His most important scene is nailed with giving us heart-pounding tension and having us in wonder the whole time.
Scratchy! What's happening?
Thomason, take the children outside.
What does this to me? What does this? His mouth is sealed up. Oh, God. William.
Hold him. Children, away from this. Thomason, now.
As seen in the clip, there are also 2 younger twins, Mercy and Jonas, who are just the right amount of aggravating as very young siblings should be. There's also good on-screen chemistry between the parents and their children, regardless of if their relationship is on good terms. The mother, Catherine, played by Kate Dickie, is traumatized from early events and is in grief and suffering the whole film, taking her anger out on everyone as they try to accommodate for her. The father is a deep-voiced but caring figure, only wanting what's best for his family while struggling with his own inner demons. Might be the best written character here, if I'm thinking about it. First-time writer and director Robert Eggers does some great work here, but can definitely improve his craft for future projects. The strongest trait the movie has might be its atmosphere. It allows us to feel like onlookers the entire time, capturing realism even in the most absurd moments. Normally the craziest moments in this film would throw people off elsewhere, but Eggers really makes us believe this could have happened. It gets good performances and captures atmosphere really well, but there are some downsides to it too. I have a few story clarity issues that I won't spoil here, but I also think there could have been more build-up to certain things. Witchcraft is never really talked about until it is upon them, which in some ways I think works, because often that can feel too forced, but at the same time, if done right, it can enhance the stakes at hand. The movie also isn't all that scary, to be honest. It's a lot more suspenseful and startling than anything else. It has its moments, but it's more of a captivating horror period piece than a frightening one. It's just missing a few crucial horror elements. For example, my current favorite, It Follows, like I talked about earlier, is chilling, builds stakes, has a fascinating concept, and executes a good written story even better. Goodnight Mommy shrouds everything in mystery, bounces you around which character to root for, and also builds tension and suspense really well. And like we mentioned, The Babadook, which I think ended on a bit of a whimper, has your heart racing from most of the middle of the movie. The Witch seems to be missing a lot of these elements, but gains some of its own with creativity and atmosphere. It credits itself on being based off of excerpts from the 1600s and tells it like the filmmakers read them. Other than some story issues and a lack of overall genuine fear, I think The Witch definitely has some high moments, which are definitely not afraid to show you what they want to show you. And those are when the movie is at its best. Maybe my expectations were a little too high. It could definitely improve on a rewatch, But for now, The Witch just seemed to be missing something. At the end, the movie feels like a big piece of unfulfilled potential. A good film that could have been something truly special.
Well, once again, I think we're on the same page here.
We're trying to talk about the movie to see if we differ at all, and we're still not.
No, I think I appreciated it more than I enjoyed it, I think is the way I would
I think I'm kind of
characterize
with
it.
I'm kind of with
I
that
think it's a
also.
really atmospheric movie and it builds
Yeah.
tension really well, and I think costuming is great and performances are good.
Right.
But the film never seized me, you know?
Yeah, I was never like-
It Follows seized me. It Follows is a really tense
Yeah,
movie
It Follows
that does
grips
kind
you.
of the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
oozing an atmosphere. This is not, this has the atmosphere, but it doesn't have the tenseness
No, it
that
doesn't-
you really
it doesn't
want from
like-
a horror movie like this.
I think it's the moments that like take you by surprise and are startling do grip you, but the movie and story as a whole does not have you on the edge of your seat. Does not have you like, oh man, what's gonna happen next? It's not quite like that.
There's not an intense amount of creepy imagery either or anything.
No,
like
there's
that,
not. The
which-
ones that are really
yeah.
good, but they're like little too.
They're
few.
they're few and far between, and the
Yeah,
film
that's
in
what I was
that,
looking for.
that middle section just kind of gets slow. Like I would say I was starting to get bored a little bit, but then it redeems itself. I think the ending is really strong.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people I know are not a fan of the ending, but I think it works really well
Yeah.
in the context of the film that's there. But overall, I would say I'm lukewarm to positive about it. I would say I
Yeah.
would recommend it for genre fans, but not mainstream fans. I
Like-
know a lot of people that I went to go see it with did not like it.
Yeah, and I could
They're
tell.
not
I
fans,
think there were only a couple people in the theater that I went to, and I didn't hear a whole lot of feedback. But some of the people here walking out were like, "Well, that sucked." And
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
no,
"Oh."
I was hearing.
like, I'm disagreeing
worst
with that,
movie of
but-
all time, which like calm down first of all. Just
Wow,
calm
that's
down.
bold.
Not that bad.
No.
but there are
Not at all.
some good elements about it. There's some.
Yeah, some could have been better. I was really excited for this, so maybe that has a factor in this.
For a
but-
debut. For a
But
debut,
yeah,
this is a strong debut.
this is Robert Eggers that directed this, and it's his first time directing anything. So that's really impressive.
And I think it's a
But-
really like, and it's talking as far as a genre film
Mm-hmm.
goes, it's a really like bold movie.
It
Like
is.
to
It
use
does not-
the old English language and stuff, the
Right.
F's and the E's at the end of all the
Right.
sentences.
Thine, thee.
Thine, thee.
Yeah.
That could lose a lot of people really fast. And he
Yeah.
manages to make that mostly compelling for me. Like,
Yeah, no,
that didn't lose me.
he captures the period, he captures the time and essence and atmosphere and all that stuff like really, really well. But just as a whole, do you think it's in the story that kind of messed it up?
Where he lost me
Think
is
so?
in the story.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't grip me as much as I want. I don't root for the characters as much as I want.
Right.
The film's very dark looking too. I would have liked a little bit more visual intensity at points, just a little bit more color. I understand the mutedness of everything, but you know, it's a lot of grays and stuff, and that can lull you into a sense of boredom sometimes.
I could see that. I think
Yeah.
I think that kind of fit though, but I know what you mean.
But I think we should do ratings and final thoughts here.
Yeah.
I think it's a good movie. I think it's not a great movie, as a lot of people were hyping it up
Yeah.
to be.
I mean, some people are adoring it. Like I read some.
Some people are all over it. I give it a
Yeah.
7.
That's what I'm at.
Well, we get God damn it. All right. Anyways, so we give it a 7.
We try not to do that.
We try not
yeah,
to do
it was
it. I mean,
was
we
good.
can't help how we
better
feel.
better than average horror movie, but I've definitely seen better, and I was hoping for better.
Yeah.
As a whole.
Especially, I know you were really excited for this.
I
I was
was.
just kind of like, okay, I'll wait and see, because
Right.
I'm not the biggest horror fan in the world, but I don't think it's any better than
See,
like. I'm a big fan of Insidious, and I think this Insidious is better than this. I know it's not a comparison, but I'm thinking of 7 out of 10 horror movies that I have personally.
I would say. I remember what I was gonna say. This is the
Anyways,
second time.
I think that'll do it for
Damn
our
it.
review of The Witch.
Second time today.
MCTV had a unique opportunity last week to speak to an actor from one of the most influential movies of the 21st century.
2004's Mean Girls is one of the most quotable movies of our generation, and that quotability is helped by the extremely talented cast.
In that cascade of comedy gold emerged a scene stealer and Rajiv Sundara, who plays horny mathlete Kevin G in the film.
Andrew had a chance to sit down and talk with Rajiv last week. Here's an extended snippet of that talk.
Hello, Marist College. I am Andrew Auger, president of MCTV, and I'm talking with Rajiv Surendra, better known to some of you as Kevin G from Mean Girls. Rajiv, thank you for talking to us today on this Wednesday afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so
Andy? Andy? Can I call you Andy?
you can call me whatever you want.
Okay.
I prefer Drew, but
Drew.
Andy
okay.
works as well.
I'm going to call you Andy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you've earned that right.
Sure.
So my first question to you, what brings you to Marist? Because, you know, a lot of people are wondering, like, we were happy that Kevin G's coming, but why is Kevin G coming to Marist?
Well, earlier this year I started going on a speaking tour to share a story that I think will be very beneficial to kids in college. It's a personal story. It's an experience that I went through that spanned about 10 years, and it started on a set of Mean Girls, and it ended just a couple of years ago.
Right.
And it was a journey of failure, but success that actually ends up coming out of failure. So I think it's a story that will speak to college students, because when they're done school, they're faced with this big open door that can be scary at times. And I hope that my own experience and my advice will be inspirational to everybody that hears my talk.
Right, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to the talk. I'm really looking forward to hearing from
I
you.
hope so.
So you studied at the University of Toronto, that's correct?
Yep.
So you started at the University of Toronto. Do you have any college experiences that when Rajiv has children, would you want to tell them about before you go to college? I mean, they could be PG-13, it doesn't matter, but...
Experiences, my college experience was kind of boring, but
I'm sure that's not true.
I would say that in terms of advice,
right,
to a younger generation, I would say that the thing I took away from college that was the most valuable is, if you're not enjoying what you're studying, stop,
right,
and take time off. Or if you know that you aren't enjoying what you're studying and you think you might like doing something else, don't be afraid to switch, because that's what school is there for. It's to teach you, but it's also there to inspire you. And if you're unsure of what you're doing, try to, figure out what it is that will ultimately make you happy. Or even just while you're studying will make you happy,
Yeah. I think that's valuable advice, too, because college students we're so unsure about everything. This is a crossroads in life. And yeah, I think that's a great thing to tell the students. So let's get to Mean Girls. Let's talk a little bit about Mean Girls. How'd you get the role of Kevin G? How'd the audition process go? Did you? I might have read this incorrectly. Did you originally try out for the role of Damien?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You've done your research.
I did my research.
So
I didn't want to look stupid.
I read for the part of Damien, and the audition went well. So what happens to people that don't know how the audition process works is you have an agent that will get you an audition, and then you'll get a few pages of the script, and you usually only have like 1 or 2 days to memorize your lines.
Right.
And then you go in and you read for your part. So I tried out for Damien. The audition went smoothly. I didn't hear back from them for a couple of weeks, and I just assumed that I didn't get it. And then I got a call saying, hey, there's this other part that they want to see you for. And it was originally written for a Chinese guy. The character's name was Kevin Noor.
So it was originally supposed to be an Asian character?
Yes.
Wow.
So I went in and to the audition room, and there were a bunch of other Asian kids and me, and I had to memorize the rap.
Right.
So I went into the audition room, and I think I tried like 5 times, and I kept screwing up. I just couldn't for the life of me remember those words. And after the 5th time, I was like, okay, I think that's the best I can do. And I left thinking, boy, I blew that, I didn't get that. And then I got called back, and they liked something about it, and I did a couple more auditions, and I got the part.
Who was in the audition room? Was Tina Fey in the audition room, or anybody, or was it just...
No,
Mark Waters, was he there? Or?
He was eventually. The first time you usually go in for an audition is just the casting director, or sometimes not even the casting director. It's the casting director's assistant.
Okay.
So that very first time, I was just auditioning to a camera that they were filming my audition.
Right.
And then they sent that to the director. The second time I auditioned, they gave me some notes, and it was just a camera. And the third time, the director and the producer were in the room.
All right, well, so now you get the part, and this set full of comedic, heavyweights. You have Tina Fey, Tim Meadows, Lindsay Lohan, obviously, Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried. Were there any funny stories from the set? Lizzie Kaplan, anything?
Well, the amazing thing about shooting this movie was that it was my first movie, and I was kind of nervous as to what the tone of the set would be. And it was completely relaxed because no one was really a star at that point.
Right.
All of those names you mentioned were kind of unknown names. I mean, people knew about Lindsay Lohan from The Parent Trap, and Freaky Friday had just come out, but she wasn't a huge star.
Right.
And neither was Tina Fey or Rachel McAdams. Rachel was just in one little movie called The Hot Chick.
Right.
So there were no sort of divas on set. And that was a wonderful thing because everyone was down to earth and sort of chilled. So we had a lot of fun shooting. There was lots of joking around, and lots of the cast hung out together. A very interesting story, actually, that I think people will appreciate is I kind of wondered how this movie would do because it was my first movie. And I remember sitting in the hair and makeup chair, and the woman that did our hair was this blonde, lady that had worked on many, many big films that shot in Toronto. So I thought I'd ask her about her opinion, and I said, how do you think this movie's gonna fare? And she was like, oh, please. It's called Mean Girls, and it's starring Lindsay Lohan. It's going straight to DVD. And I remember being kind of disappointed at that point, but then the movie came out, and it slowly grew, and the amazing thing is it's now, 10 years later, much bigger than it was when it first came out. So
It's so quoted between like people our age.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's so quoted between people our age. It's one of our like favorite movies of the 2000s, and just to see it grow like that. Do you still keep in contact with any of the cast members? Or
some of them.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with Daniel Franzese, who played Damien. And I live in New York, and I've bumped into Tina Fey a couple times in the street.
Oh, hey, Tina, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you buy ice cream? I buy ice cream too. I hung out with Lindsay Lohan last year once before she moved to England. So I think, the fact that the movie has just sort of become this huge thing has made the cast kind of close, so that whenever we're, in the same city, we reach out to each other and try to get together.
What's Tina Fey's favorite ice cream? What was she getting that day? You remember?
I don't know.
No.
No.
What's your favorite
I
ice
didn't
cream?
pay attention. My favorite ice cream, it really depends on the day. I like maple walnut.
Maple walnut. That's
Yeah.
exotic. I like that.
Yeah.
Maple walnut. You're from Canada though. So
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
Maple
That
walnut.
might be why. Yeah, exactly.
So I think the role of Kevin G can be classified as a scene stealer. Absolutely. Right? Would you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think
I think so.
it's one of the most flattering things to hear. I remember reading the part and thinking, oh, well, this is just a very small little part in this movie.
Right.
I feel really lucky to be a part of it. And the fact that the rap is remembered and sort of revered is kind of a huge honor. It's very hard for me to step back and look at my own performance and assess what it is the sort of the scale that I contributed to the movie. But from the feedback, it's really nice and surprising to know that, my little part was a significant part of the film.
And I think the rap is definitely one of the most memorable moments of the movie. And I heard Amy Poehler and Tina Fey gave you some coaching on that.
Yes.
What exactly did they tell you?
Well, I just thought I was going to just, do it my way, but I didn't really realize that the two of them had really thought about this rap, and for them it was an important part of the movie, whereas to me it was just kind of like a joke. So they actually filmed this video of them doing different versions of the rap, and they were trying to act all gangster and ghetto.
I wish I could beatbox, but I can't. Yes, you can.
Do it, yeah, beatbox.
I really can't beatbox. Okay, are we rolling?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh, you sucker MCs ain't got nothing on me. From my grades to my lines, you can't touch Kevin G.
I'm a mathlete, so nerd isn't first, but forget what you heard. I'm like James Bond the Third.
Just shaking, not stirred. I'm Kevin the Poor. The G is silent when I sneak in your door.
Make love to your woman on the bathroom floor. I don't play it like Shaggy. You'll know it was me.
Make all the ninth grade ladies wanna suck my what?
I don't know if they were serious about it or if they wanted to just sort of make me have fun with it, but right before we shot the rap, Tina kind of took me aside and she's like, okay, well, this is what you should be thinking while you're doing it, and this is your motivation. And so it became really clear to me that it was a point of pride for her that I do justice to this rap.
And you certainly did, I think, absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
You can see the rest of that interview on MCTV's YouTube channel, MCTV HD. So we had a lot of interesting things to say,
Yeah,
I think.
that was cool. That was very cool.
He was a lot more quiet and reserved than I expected.
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy. He was a nice guy, and he's very humble.
But he was also a little playful. He was messing around with one of the guys behind camera as well.
Our friend
He was
Dylan,
having-
yeah.
Yeah,
was giving him
Dylan,
a
he was
hard
having
time.
fun.
He was a fun kid to be
He was,
around.
he was cool.
He had an interesting story that we didn't touch on that you can see in the extended interview, but he has this very interesting story about how his career, why we haven't seen him since Mean Girls, and it has a very inspiring message of like, don't give up, and things might not go your way, but it's important to keep going. And I think that's why he came and talked to Maris, because I think that's an important thing for college students to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he touched on that earlier.
Yeah, absolutely true. We
You're a
didn't
Mean
get a
Girls
chance to
fan?
go to the talk, but I only saw it like one time, to be honest.
Really?
I know. If everybody else around in
It's a
the
good film.
world has probably seen it three
It's a
times.
good film.
or
It's a
more.
well-written film too. It's Tina
That's what I've
Fey.
heard. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah, and I think it's it's taken as like this big cultural phenomenon, but I think people underestimate how smart it is too.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the rap is one of the big parts too.
Right, and I love that clip of
Rajiv kills
Amy
it.
Poehler.
Yeah,
It's
they
great.
look
I love
like
Amy Poehler.
they were having fun there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of raps, that will be a wrap on this week's episode of MCTV.
Okay, I
It's the
see
Middle
you.
Seats.
I see you. Like us on Facebook. Email us if you have any questions. The stat of next week's show is up in the air. If it does happen, we'll be talking about 999.
That'll do it for us. I'm Andrew Auger.
And I'm Jake Hensler.
Keep that seat warm, everyone. It'll stay warm because I'm lighting Jake's on fire because he's a witch! A witch! Burn him at the stake! I owe you a towel.
We can't do that anymore.
Continuity. I open up right back to the same instruction field.
Thanks for taking care of LT, guys. Can we start that over?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to ask me.
No. I said you're just gonna say it.
Oh.
It's a week old.
Well, blooper.
It's the blooper reel.
Looked at me.
Thanks for taking care of LT this winter, guys. The last couple kids who did this went a little crazy. It can be a little,
And A. No, I can't do it. I'm too scared.
Why?
No. And
Golly.